Hey, welcome back to the Dutch of Denver podcast. I am Dutch. I am in or around Denver, and this is my podcast. Uh, this week's gonna be just as bad as all the others. It's just complete clusterfuck of awful as always. But we do have good news this week. We have great news. Good news is I made ribs today, and they were pretty good. Secret recipe. Uh, Just they're delicious. Um, we'll do good news like in the middle of the podcast. Um, we'll do like a bad news, good news, bad news, random kind of setup. Okay. So, I mean, let's start with the real bad news. Gas is fucking expensive. Holy hell, dude! It's over 5 here where I'm purchasing gas, and it's all Biden's fault and his guys. And if you don't believe that, again, you're stupid and I can't help you. Um, but what is interesting is that Uncle Brandon is apparently planning a trip to Saudi. And he's going to I don't know. He's gonna talk to MBS, but not everyone agrees with that. Some people think he shouldn't, uh, because MBS was the one who called the hit on the American journalist, and um, he's a pretty shitty person. Uh, so yeah, so all right, I'm sorry. If you guys aren't familiar with this, MBS is Mohammed bin Saladan, whatever. He's the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, and he called a hit for on an American journalist who that hit was taken out, and he was. So then everybody was like, "Hey man, we can't talk to this guy anymore because he's fucking wacko, and he's a human rights violator, and he's goddamn psychopath. So we need to distance ourselves from him." Well, what cousin Brandon wants to do is go over there and be friends with him and ask for more oil because um, cousin Brandon's a fucking moron and doesn't understand we can make that shit here. Um, so a couple of Democrats have come out and been like, no, don't meet with MBS, man. It's a real bad idea. It won't be good for us. We don't know if he's gonna do it yet or not, but I have a feeling he probably will because Brandon's a fucking moron, and yeah. I mean, what can we say? So again, the solution to the gas prices are fucking thrill for gas here. I'm sorry I don't have much heart in this. It's just this is the same old shit over and over. You can't get away from fossil fuels, okay? Windmills can't make windmills. The beast doesn't run on fucking electricity. Air Force One doesn't, so you can't, okay? And also, like all the crap you have is fossil fuels. All your plastics, all your blah blah blah. It's not just gas and diesel, man. It's fucking everything. So get over this. Green energy doesn't work. It's a dumbass idea. Stop. Unless you're that senator, congresswoman from Wisconsin who's like, hey, I drove out here to DC in my electric car and and I passed all the gas stations. What she didn't tell you is that her electric car probably costs $120,000 that you paid for, and that after 350, maybe 400 miles, she had to stop for 8 hours and recharge her stupid electric car. But yeah, gas is super expensive with everything else, and I mean it's all Brandon's fault. Like there's no, I mean, yeah, if you're on the left, you're retarded, and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I don't get it. Yeah, but you're stupid. So it's all his fault, and the only thing to take away from this is elections have consequences, and it's literally all your fucking fault. People on the left. All right, let's talk about other things about your fault. So I think today, all right, went to the White House. If you guys don't know who that was Matthew McConaughey. Um, went to the White House and gave a very passionate speech about responsible gun ownership, I think is what he called it, and a whole bunch of other people are calling it gun control and blah 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 blah. So let's talk about this a little bit because it's what's happening right now and what we have to talk about. Fucking unfortunately, but I'll try and make this quick because I have other stuff I want to get to that seems more important to me. So yeah, Matthew McConaughey spoke at the White House about guns. My first point is who gives a shit? Like he's a Hollywood actor or he's an actor. Maybe he's not from Hollywood. He's in Texas now or who cares? If you're getting your opinions or information or anything from people who act in movies, you're stupid. Okay? This guy's word has no more pull than anyone else's. But I understand people give it to him because like, oh, he's handsome and famous and he must know more than we do. He probably knows less, actually. Um, in fact, he does because his speech, while parts of it weren't bad, other parts of it are stupid. Um, so for instance, let's dissect this a little bit. Again, having a celebrity come to the White House is retarded. Um, but what Matt was calling for was a couple things. Like A, he wants to address the mental health problems we have in this country. Agree. We're not going to discuss any stuff. I'm just going to say agree or disagree. And if I feel like discussing it, we will. If I don't, we won't. So yeah, address the mental health problem we have in this country about like crazy fuckers trying to murder other people. That's the issue. Okay? It ain't guns. We've been over this 1,000 times. And this also spills into another fairly decent point he made about that we have lost like our moral fiber as a country. Uh, there's no more morals here. Like, and again, people are gonna cry and whine, but this country was founded on like Christian principles. Oh, don't you was founded by the Puritans? Yet they were Christians, you dipshit. Christians just mean you believe Christ was your savior. Okay? And we have completely fucking lost all of that. Now, I understand that there's a separation of church and state, but we don't need a complete opposite run from the church, which we'll get into more later with Pride Month, like we did last week and all that dumb shit. God damn it. See, like I said, this is why these don't happen that often. This is why I don't game as much because this isn't fun for me anymore. Like, there's literally nothing to talk about unless it's how unbelievably fucked we are, and that's not fun for me. And the game sucks, so we don't play those. Okay, so yeah, McConaughey's out here talking about the moral fiber of this country's gone. Agree. Mental health issues. Agree. He also talks about like red flag laws. Don't agree with at all. You can't go to a cop shop and be like, "Hey man, I think Billy's crazy. Go take his guns." And the cops go do that without due process. That's also in the Constitution. I know it's tough to read, but you should try it. He also said though that, like we should have red flag laws, which again I disagree with 100%. But we should also have consequences for those who abuse those. So I agree with that. which I know that sounds silly, but we have red flag laws now. But if you abuse that and you just make shit up and be like, yeah, Billy's crazy, go take his guns, and we go take his guns, and it turns out Billy isn't crazy, you're just a vindictive asshole, then you should get punished. You're on. You got me there. Um, a waiting period, I disagree with. I, you know, I mean, guns are like anything else. If I want to go buy a sweater today, I go buy a sweater. Oh, but that just sweater can't kill people. Neither can a gun. If you really think about it, if I buy a sweater and I lay it down on my bed for future use, it will not get up and kill anyone. Um, Now if I pick that sweater up and I wrap around someone's neck and tie it real tight and choke them out, they're dead. But the sweater didn't kill them. My crazy ass did. Same with a gun. If I buy a gun and lay it on my bed and masturbate to it and do all that crazy like what gun owners do, yeah, we jack off to our guns. That's actually what happens. So the left is right about that. We sleep with them. We do dirty shit with them and all that. But in the end, they don't kill anyone. So if I just lay it on the bed, it doesn't kill anyone. Now, if I pick it up and point it at someone and pull the trigger, yeah, it kills people. Kind of like if I pick it up, the sweater, tighten a knot around your neck, pull real tight, you die too. So the sweater didn't kill anybody. My crazy ass did. Kind of like the gun thing. The gun doesn't kill people. My crazy ass does. So I don't think we should have a waiting period. If I go out and I want to buy a gun today, I get my gun today. Um, Raising the age of 21. Come on, dude. Like, we can go back to this argument forever. Like, but you can join the military at 18 and get a gun and go shoot foreigners. Yeah, that's not a bad argument. I think I saw that the average age of the shooters were 33. So 31, 28, 25. That's not going to make a difference. So I wait a couple of years to kill someone. I'm fucking crazy. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it. Raising the age is stupid. I'd be like, hey, we want to cut down on drunk driving, so we're going to raise the age of drinking to 22. That's not going to help. You want to cut down on like kids smoking, so you're like, we're going to raise the nicotine age, at least in Colorado, to 21. I don't think it's helped. I still use nicotine and I'm over 21. So again, if I was a psycho killer, I'm over 21. I'll wait the 3 days and I'll still do it because I'm an asshole and a crazy person. God, it's not what 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 needs to happen is you know deal with crazy people. They're like, hey man, skinning cats isn't a great idea. Why don't you come talk to a doctor? Um, he wants to fortify schools or protect schools. I don't know. I didn't listen to all of it because it was very like rhythmic and poetic. It's almost like he was singing a song up there. But again, if you're getting any of this from a Hollywood celebrity, you're fucking retarded, and I can't help you, and that's not fun. So let's move on. We talked about the Saudi stuff. Hey, the Avalanche are in the motherfucking Stanley Cup Finals. How great is that? I think I said at some point, like, hey man, we're gonna sweep the Oilers, and whatever natural disaster team we're gonna, sweep too. Because I mean, let's face it, the Rangers are like running on adrenaline. Tampa Bay is really good, but the Eastern Conference is kind of like the Eastern Conference of basketball. They suck compared to the Western Conference. Or like the NFL, it's like the NFC East compared to the NFC West. It's just or AFC. I'm sorry, AFC East, AFC West. We've talked about this before, but hey, I'm very excited that the Avalanche are in the Stanley Cup Finals. I truly believe they will win this. I think they'll sweep it. I'm not one of those people that is like, oh, let's go to Game 5 so you can win at home. Nope. Sweep. Dominate those pussies. Um, some like cleanup work. The hit on Nazem Kadri. I saw a tweet about it that the guy Kane got suspended in one game, and the responses were, "Whoa." A lot of them thought Kadri dove and like drew the penalty, and they said couldn't happen to a nicer guy because Kadri's had some mixed history, but I also don't think that it was deserved mixed history. Uh which isn't that kind of funny how I like to think like I have sports loyalties, okay? I mean, you guys know them. I'm Cardinals, Avalanche. That's about all. Oh, UFC football. But like I don't care about the Broncos anymore. The NBA, who cares? But I would like to think that in my opinions and analysis of the teams that I follow, that some of it is rooted in logic. Like I can sit back and be like, yeah, that was a penalty on the Avalanche. That was a dumb thing to do. Blah blah blah. Okay, that was a flop. You got away with it. You know, because I'm the first one to say I hate makeup calls. God, I hate that. If you miss a call, do not do a makeup call. That's not fair. Just say I missed it and leave it at that. Okay, so I'd like to think that I'm fair. Like I do have bias because I do like my teams, but I also understand like sports. And I can understand when, the Cardinals commit an error and it's a home score, so they give the other team a hit instead of an error. And I don't agree with that. Or when an Avs player flops, or when it is a penalty, when it's called a penalty, but it's really not. And I feel like I'm, I can differentiate between that. And I feel like I do a good job of that. And I do voice that opinion and be like, hey, man, what's happened to the Avs in the playoffs has been unfair. Like, you've had teams headhunting people, and the NHL has done nothing about it. For instance, like the Kane thing. Kadri did not dive. He got boarded. Like, there's nothing, you can't convince me differently. And if you're not an Oilers idiot, you probably saw the same thing or not Kadri hater. Okay? And I don't think that one game was enough. Granted, the Avs have swept them and it doesn't fucking matter. But to me, I also think that that's pretty smart of the Oilers because if you can take out Kadri, who's arguably our best player this year, people are like, what about McKinnon? Hasn't really shown up in the playoffs. Okay, Kadri has been consistently good. But to me, like if I was a piece of shit like the Oilers players, that's a good trade off to me. Like I took out their first or second best player for the entire rest of the season, and I got a 1 game suspension. That's a pretty good trade. You take out McKinnon, and in the let's say, for instance, the Rangers win, and they take out McKinnon in the first game, and they get a 1 game suspension. That's a pretty good trade. Like the guy gets to play the rest of game 1. Yeah, he misses game 2, but then he can come back for all the games, and we don't have one of our best players. Like that's a decent trade. Scumbag shit wise. And the NHL is just kicking back like, well, you're the now. Shoe on the other foot, like last year when Kadri, which also I don't think was a penalty, but hit somebody and he gets suspended like 100 games. He's out for all the playoffs, and the guy who got hit is, fine. Maybe he missed a couple games. So that's not a smart trade because the Avalanche are the bastards of the NHL, just like the Broncos are the bastards of the NFL. I mean, the Rockies are the bastards of the MLB, but that's a deserved title. And the Nuggets are a flyover city. So yeah, Colorado gets the shaft sometimes. Um, also like, and this is minor, but kind of important. All the Avs games were on TNT. All the Lightning Rangers games have been on ESPN. Like when I flip on TNT, I'm not thinking like, oh, sports. I'm thinking like, oh, repeats of uh whatever the child molester um cop show is. Or like repeats of edited Sex in the City. That's what I think of when I think of TNT. ESPN, yeah, I think sports. And it just that's a little odd to me that like because clearly the Avalanche series is the better series. Like they swept them. They kicked the monkey shit out of the Oilers. So wouldn't you want that team on the sports network? Well, no. Because ESPN has spent their lives propping up the East Coast. All teams on the East Coast. Like if you go to ESPN.com, we pull up the app here real quick and just give it a little look see. So on the home, Rangers Tampa Bay, blah blah blah. And then the top headlines are the Angels fire Madden. Who gives a shit? Watson met with 66 women for massages. Okay. The Jazz, Cam Newton, Metcalf, Fisher fired from the Sparks. That's the WNBA. Carr says Cap would fit in. So Derek Carr says Kaepernick, yeah. Astros. Then we keep going. Tom Brady stuff. Basketball shit. Impact of the shift. Playmakers, blah, 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 blah. Basketball. Aaron Rodgers. Nothing about the Avalanche, who swept their conference finals. Like, that should be the front page of your sports, man. And nothing. Open up your ESPN app, see about it. Yeah, it's funny how that works, but I'm very excited. Last night was a good night. I had a lot of fun. I'm very glad we're there, and I think we win the Stanley Cup. And then I will cry, and it'll be awesome, and I can't wait. I just wish these two shitty teams, the Lightning and the Rangers, would get the fuck together, so then just let one dumb team win, so the Avs can start pounding on them. But yeah, the Broncos are apparently going to be sold to Wally World. I mean, the guy's got the money. I'm hearing 4.6 billion. It's a lot of money for a sports team, especially not a very good one. And again, shut the fuck up about Russell Wilson. Oh my god, he hasn't played a game for us. He's not a Bronco. He's a Seahawk in a Broncos jersey. Win us something, and then we can start talking. Okay. Moving on. Oh, let's just do an anecdote. You guys are lucky. This isn't about politics. So I have a friend, and let's call her Belinda. That's with a B, not Belinda. And Belinda has met someone new. And Belinda and the new guy, we'll call him Jerry. Belinda and Jerry are currently dating. Trust me, this gets way better. All right. And you have old Dutchy here who is just the lowly worker. Dutch is helping Belinda out with some uh housework in her new home. Okay, not like cleaning and shit. I'm not a maid. Okay. But a little bit of landscaping, maybe a shed, a patio, outside stuff. Some inside stuff, like we did a pretty cool TV and stuff like that. Um, but Dutch is helping Belinda do this stuff, and this is before Jerry came along. And then, Jerry comes along and Jerry takes over a little bit and does some of the grunt work that I don't want to do, which was nice. I don't think Jerry will ever know how appreciative I am of him moving rock and dirt. Uh so I'm there the other day, like getting back to the shed. Because Belinda lives like 1,000 miles away in like fucking Utah. Okay. So I can't get up there every day. And the weather, and I just sometimes I'm tired and foot hurts and I don't want to do it. So I'm up there the other day and I'm knocking this stuff out and Belinda's there and uh she's talking to her neighbor for like 4 hours and I need her help and it was infuriating. And I stared like 6 times and she just ignored me and would walk by like 5 more times. Subtle hints nobody gets. Well, then Jerry shows up and, he starts talking to the neighbor too, so it's going to take even fucking longer. But, then, I finally speak. I'm like, hey, Belinda, let's fucking go. We got shit to do. So I break that up, and Belinda and Jerry head back, and, I say, we introduce, it's like, hey, man, I'm Dutch. He's like, I'm Jerry. It's good to meet you, buddy. Seems like a nice guy. I mean, first appearance, seems like a good old boy. Okay. Um, and we're done in like first appearance, like first 30 seconds. And then, you know, Jerry leaves and I'm talking to Belinda and it's like, wait a minute. Jerry's not here to work today. And Belinda's like, no, he's got to go do his homework. I thought, what the fuck's he doing here then? Well, he just, he got a long drive ahead of him. He's got to run up to a different job site. So he figured he'd come get his goldfish that I'm watching. Like, what? You're watching his goldfish? And he's now taking it up and he'll be back in whatever. Seems weird. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew that we have one of the far and rare alien races. Because we have a lot of alien races, like you have Predator, um, who can't see. You have all this stuff. Uh, but you also have one of the scariest is a clinger. And right then and there, it dawned on me all this stuff that's like, I already know, and I don't know how long this has actually been going on. Like, because I mean, Belinda and I are adults and we don't like talk every fucking day. We talk what's needed because we're friends, but we don't check in every day. So let's say this has been going on for 2 months. It can't be any fucking longer than 2 months. But I could have told you that day that Jerry was a clinger. Okay? Based on that action. And everything I've said about Jerry so far has been right on. And it's a little disappointing because I went up a couple days after that and got Jerry for the whole day to help me out because I still need help. I'm struggling with the whole back to work thing with the foot and everything. So it was nice that he helped. Don't get me wrong. It was super nice that he helped. Uh but I'm not sure he was there to help as much as he was there to like check up on me and Belinda, which we're friends. And I don't know if you guys know this, but adults can be friends with each other. Like a man and a woman can be friends with each other and not be sleeping together. I know it's amazing. It's amazing. But the point is that Jerry and I seem to have got along. Like I don't know what he thinks of me, and frankly, I don't give a shit. Like I could care less. Um, but he was really cool. Like, he doesn't like Brandon. I don't like Brandon. Uh he's into cars and well trucks. I don't care. That's what a mechanic's for, but still kind of manly. Um into like working hard. The guy, he works hard, smart dude, uh, with his job, all this, stuff. Likes drinking beer, likes whiskey, can ride a horse, wears boots, doesn't like Carhartt because they're woke, almost brother from another mother. But then in the back of my head, I'm sitting there, it's like, dude, I know, I know you because, and I verified this tonight with Belinda. Jerry's already professed his love. He already says, I love you. And I don't know if Belinda says it back. I think she does because I know Belinda and she doesn't want to rock the boat. But I can tell you she doesn't mean it. And he has no idea about it. Well, he thinks he loves her, but he doesn't. This is what he does. I'm sure that he is like, where are you? What are you doing? That happens a lot. So he's a controlling clinger. And it's sad to me because he seemed like he would be cool. And he's going to be gone so quickly. Just because he's annoying. He's like a little puppy dog who just follows you around and, not fun. So if you're that guy, like, if you're that tough guy, I wear boots and jeans, it's 90 degrees out. That's the other thing, man. All right, so all day we're working, and he's got his boots on and his jeans and his shirt on. Uh, and he's helping to the best of his ability, which again, super big help. But as soon as I leave, he's in boots, shorts, and a tank top, looking like an idiot. And that's what I loved. That's the Jerry I wanted. I didn't want the tough guy. I wanted the fun guy. Trust me, dude. I'm not a threat. Okay. And if I was a threat, I'd win. Because look at me. I'm awesome. Beautiful. But I'm such a bummer, man. Like, big old tough guy and touchy feely, he's always the one that's like hugging and kissing. And not that I have a problem with that, but come on, man. We're in the backyard working, drinking beer, doing man shit. You're over here like stealing kisses and hugs, like when I walk to the truck to grab another beer or something. It made me sad. And if you're that guy, not Jerry, because Jerry will never stop. But if you're that guy, stop. Nobody's gonna like that. You're gonna lose your girlfriend. Guys aren't gonna respect you. I mean, I respect him in different ways, but he lost a lot with being weird. And it was not fun. Now that all my shit's been confirmed, it's like, oh yeah, definitely a little dandy boy. Maybe not how he dresses, but definitely how he acts. Not super fun. It just, I don't know, it's super. It was interesting, um, how that worked out, and you know, uh, wait, what's going on here? That's already been posted. Okay, so yeah, just it's a huge letdown. You know, like some big old good old boy cowboy turns out to be a fucking Nancy. It's not fun for me. But whatever. Let's talk about other things. Maybe you guys want to talk about some educational shit, which I have explained, but I'm going to explain again. Let's start out with Janet Yellen, who is the Secretary of the Treasury. She's the little round-headed weirdo. Today, yesterday, I don't know, sometime. She got up there and started spouting off about how we're in a great economic recovery. Brennan's administration's doing awesome. Um, but for gas prices, if we just say fuck it and start adopting this green energy shit, it's gonna fix everything. And I mean everything. Like this bitch is literally listing off like, hey, green energy is gonna lower food prices and it's gonna provide better education for your kids and lower healthcare costs and lower childcare costs and it's gonna do all this stuff and oh my god, it's literally gonna save the world. Just a magic wand of green energy. Woo! Poof! Done. The only way that's gonna happen is if y'all double down and start driving electric cars and buying shit, and if those billionaires start paying their fair goddamn share. And well, I mean, she lost me a long way into this, right? Basically, second sentence. But that's where you even more lost me. And I'm going to explain something to you guys about these billionaires that you demonize. All right. And we're going to use Elon Musk. Actually, no, we're not. Yeah, we are. Now, this is going to be a gross generalization about this shit. Okay. But these are basic principles. All right. So let's say old Elon, quote, has $100 billion. What you have to understand is that old Elon doesn't actually have $100 billion in his bank account. Elon has $100 billion worth of Tesla stock. Okay? So it's not actually his money. It's just like he owns, let's say he owns 50% of Tesla, which is valued at 100 billion, and people are saying, all right, he's got $100 billion. Now, if Tesla tomorrow, if their stock goes to zero, it won't, but let's just say it does. Elon has no money. He will be worth zero. He will have $0. Okay? So he doesn't actually have that money. Now, if he sold all of his Tesla stock, he would have that money. But he didn't do that, so he does not have that money. He does not actually have $100 billion. Now, considering he owns Tesla, if Tesla makes $10 that year, that money does not physically go into Elon's bank account. That just means that the shares he owned, all the shares of Tesla, increased enough to make a profit of $10. Okay? So Elon's stock price went from $1 to $1.10 or whatever it is. Okay? But again, he doesn't actually have that money. Now, as the law stands now, you don't have to pay taxes on that. Just like for you, if you own a stock, and let's say you own 10 shares of Dutch Podcast Incorporated. Okay. And those shares are valued at $10 a piece. You have $100 worth of shares. Okay. So people would say your net worth is $100. It's not actually, because if our stock goes to zero, you have no money. If our stock goes to 100, you have $1,000. Very good. Okay. Now, let's say this year you bought 10 shares of Dutch Incorporated at $10. So now you have $100 invested in us. If our shares go to $100, you now have 1,000. You don't pay taxes on that because you haven't cashed those shares out yet. Again, your net worth quote is now $1,000 instead of 100 because our shares went up. But if they go to zero, you still have zero. You don't have to pay taxes on your assets increasing in value. Like if your house increases in value, you don't pay taxes on that value increase as income because you haven't sold the house yet. Now, the Democrats are trying to pass laws that will make you pay that. And it's like unforeseen income or some shit like that, which again is absolutely fucking crazy. Again, let's think about this. I own a house and that house is worth $100. And in 5 years, the house is now worth $150. I still haven't moved. I haven't sold it. I haven't gained any profit from it. But what the Democrats want to do is they want to tax that $50 that the house has increased. That's fucking crazy. All right. So back to us and the Dutch Empire. So you now own these shares, okay? And let's say you want to buy a new business, okay? Rather than liquidating your shares and selling, let's say that new business is $200. Rather than you selling 2 shares of Dutch Impro, whatever, and getting that actual money and buying a new business, because if you sell your shares, that is capital gains, and then you have to pay taxes on that. What you can do is you can go to the bank and say, hey, I would like a loan for $200. And as collateral, I'm going to put up 2 of my 10 shares in Dutch Enterprises. And the bank will look at the Dutch in Podcast Incorporated thing and be like, okay, I don't see this going down. It seems like a good idea. Here's the money. So now depending on how you structure this, you still own those shares and blah, blah, blah. But let's say for all intents and purposes, the bank now, that's the collateral. So if you don't pay back the loan to buy the new business for $200, they will take those shares from you. They will liquidate them. They will pay the taxes, and then your debt will be settled, but you'll be 2 shares short. Okay? Again, you haven't actually made any money. You haven't liquidated anything and put it into your account that can be taxed. You're basically working on margin, like with loans and stuff. Okay? So that is the perfect example of why these billionaires don't pay income tax like you do, because you're a simpleton and you work at fucking McDonald's or Starbucks. Okay? You get income tax. You don't have investments. You don't own portions of companies. You don't have any assets that you can, lever against loans. Okay, that you can use as collateral. So your taxes are simple. You made X dollars, you pay this percent. Yeah, that's how that works. Now, Elon doesn't actually make any money during the year. Okay? Because he's not liquidating any of his Tesla assets. And when he wanted to start SpaceX, he probably went to a bank and said, look, I want to shoot rockets into space. And the bank was like, okay. You seem like a smart guy. You have a lot of money in Tesla. It seems like a good company that isn't going to go belly up anytime soon. So we will loan you the money for SpaceX against your Tesla stock as collateral. Okay. So again, he's not making any income. Therefore, he doesn't have to pay any income tax. Now, if Elon had sold his Tesla stock, let's say SpaceX costs $1 billion to start. If he had sold $1 billion worth of Tesla stock to start SpaceX, then yes, he sold that. It goes into his bank account. The government taxes it as capital gains, and he ends up with like 50 billion. Okay, so then he actually has to take out 200 billion. The government taxes it, and then he's with his 1 billion. And I'm sorry, I said 200. I meant 2 billion. He takes out 2 billion. The government taxes it, and then he has his 1 billion to start SpaceX. But instead, what he did is he went to a bank and said, "I need a loan, and here is 1 billion worth of Tesla stock as collateral, which is an income, and you can't tax that yet." Because again, if Tesla went to zero the next day, Elon and the bank would be out that money. So if you tax it, if you tax these unforeseen gains and then it goes to zero, do you think the government's going to give that money back? Because now you've taken a loss and you can file for losses, which that's the other way that they don't get out of paying taxes. They just pay them in a different way. Like if you start a company and you don't make any money for like 10 years, you just start pissing money away into this company. You don't have to pay taxes because you're not making any money. So, like, let's say, for instance, I start another company where I sell ice cream cones. Okay. And for 5 years, I I don't make any money. I actually lose money building this business, because I got to buy equipment, I got to pay employees, I got to do all this stuff. And it's not profitable yet because it takes time to build a business. So for 5 years, I take losses and I have to invest my own money into this company. Like it doesn't make enough money to support itself. So I invest my own money. Okay. And let's say the first year the business cost me $100. And it cost me $100 every year for 5 years. Well, for 5 years, I now have $500 in tax credit. I don't have to pay taxes for 5 years as long as they don't surpass $500. Now, if let's say my tax bill is $600, then I pay $100 in taxes because I have a tax credit for $500 because I invested my own money to grow a business. And the theory behind this is that if I spend my own money to grow this business, the government is willing to give me a tax break for 5 years because on the 6th year, when I become profitable, they'll tax the shit out of me. And the 7th and the 8th and the 9th and the 10th, all those years after, they'll tax the shit out of you and it will make up for the years they forgave you. Which not only makes sense because why would you invest in a company if you still have to pay taxes on it if it's losing money? Because theoretically when you start it, it's losing money. It's not sustaining itself. Because you have startup costs, you have all this shit. And then eventually it starts supporting itself. And at the point that it supports itself, you have some tax credits there. And you can use those. But once your tax credits are gone and the business supports itself, you start paying taxes. Now, you personally, I'm Dutch. I started my ice cream business. It's now 20 years old. I've used up my tax credits. Okay. It's profitable. It's making money. Me, Dutch, am not necessarily paying income tax. Okay? Because maybe I only pay myself enough money to get by. But yeah, the company is doing great. The company is paying corporate taxes. But it's just saying that, you know, Dutch's ice cream stand paid $100 in taxes. Dutch, me, paid $1 in taxes because I'm not, again, making that money. The company is worth $100. I'm, yes, I own that company, but I'm not taking that 100 out of it. I'm taking $10 out of it, and my tax responsibility on that $10 is $1. And I don't think everyone understands that. And I'm sorry if that sounded convoluted, but I tried to explain it the best I could. So that's your educational lesson for the night. And now it can get far more difficult. But that is why it appears that some of these billionaires are not paying taxes. And that is why Janet Yellen's plan to make them pay their fair share is fucking stupid. Because as soon as they cash out on their money, they are going to get real fucking loaded with taxes. And again, we've been over this 100 times. Like, the top 10% of taxpayers pay 90% of the taxes, which is more than their fair share. Okay? No one's doing anything illegal. If trust me, if Jeff Bezos wasn't, or Elon Musk wasn't paying taxes, the IRS would be nailing them to the wall. Everything they're doing is legitimate and legal. You're just stupid. And you listen to CNN. And that's the problem. Is that we have a huge divide between and let's just do a quick check, like Fox News. We'll go to foxnews.com. Uh the the top headline on foxnews.com is the dim prosecutor recall thing. And I know some of you are going to be like, what are you talking about, Dutch? That's my point exactly. And let's see, at CNN.com, the top headline, and it's tough to tell, is McConaughey or again, hard to tell. Something from Ukraine and results from primaries. Nothing about actually what's happening. So their live updates are the Ukraine primary elections, and their trending is monkeypox, McConaughey, Napalm Girl, and Coles. I couldn't tell you. I have nothing, no idea what that's about. Fox News is, like I said, the ballots, McConaughey, uh, Musk talking about, pissed about Twitter stuff, Biden doing dumb things, and blah blah blah. Okay, so the point is that where you get your news from matters, and it's never mattered more is because CNN is not reporting what Fox News is, and that's where the rift is that there are people on the left that have never heard about anything that people on the right are hearing about, and vice versa. There's people on the right that have never heard, stunning moments as Ukraine forces bring CNN to secret locations to fire on Russian positions. Well, it's not secret anymore, motherfucker. You put a video of it up. It's just seeing like little things like this. CNN projection. Iowa makes history with all female gubernatorial matchup. Fucking cares? I don't care what race, sex, color, anything you are. Just don't be a dumb fuck. Ugh. Alright. I got nothing left. Washington Post is in trouble as always. Um, I applaud the Rays players for not joining in on the pride shit. I haven't read all about it, but good on them. From what I understand, a couple of them were like, "Hey, dude, we're not wearing pride logos. We're not doing this shit. I don't care." Or even if they disagree with it, which is fine. Um, let them. Who fucking cares? It's shocking to me. Who gives a shit? So yeah, good on the Rays players. Everything else is a fucking train wreck. Hopefully we have more stuff to talk about next week. It'll probably be more of the same. But maybe the Avs will. No, we still got like 10 days till the Avs play. They don't play, it doesn't start till the 18th. So, I don't know, man. Hopefully some of these shit teams get together. Okay, hey, thanks for listening. It was fun. Do your part, follow the socials, do that kind of stuff. At Dutch the Beast on Twitter, at Dutch in Denver on Twitter, no I. Everywhere else that has an I. On YouTube, at Dutch in Denver with an I. iTunes, iHeartRadio, everywhere. Anchor.fm slash Dutch in Denver, everywhere. And when you're done doing that, because more of you need to do this. I know 3 of you listen to this at least, and there's only 1 like. So do your part and do more. But after you're done doing all that, go listen to West of Nowhere. Okay, it's another podcast with my friend Batman or Shane or Levi. All of them. They're decent guys. Like they're probably not gonna, nut slap you or anything like that. But it's not a bad podcast. It's a good one. It's if I listened to podcasts, I would listen to that one. Because I can't hear myself talk. That's weird. But yeah, when you're done listening to mine, go listen to West of Nowhere. And it's everywhere mine is. They have a website. I don't know what it is. If you go back a couple podcasts, Shane was on here and he explained it. So you can find him there. But that's all I got tonight, man. It was fun. I mean, it was a little bit depressing, but it's fun. And we'll continue to do this for as much as time as we have. I will update you on the Nancy. I did post the bees in Discord, so if you follow the Discord, you will know all about them. It's a pretty good trek. They're doing well. They're doing really well. So it's a fun experiment, and I'm excited to see how the summer goes with them. And until next time, I appreciate everyone listening, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.